try to put information around it for us to, at least, but I need to declare, those of you who don't know me, at least that's part of why I probably be standing here talking about it. I know a little bit about it, and I'm licensed for it. All right. Let's go through some questions here. I like to, like I said, it's an interactive, so I'm going to hear from you. And it will help me to be able to orchestrate this. But, so raise your hand. I'm probably going to be raising my hand through the whole thing here. If your money disappears faster than it arrives each month, we all know that we got a paycheck coming in, but I'm sure a lot of us probably in a situation where by the time the money hits your bank, man, it's already been taken care of because you have other things committed to take the money away. All right? And one thing that, and you're going to see this word immigrant. And I tell it a little bit because of majority of us in the church here are immigrants. Unfortunately, most of them are not here. So I kind of tailored it in that direction a little bit. But I make sure it's also American-centric because that's where we are. But you're going to see a little bit about immigrant stuff. The idea is that just to bring the awareness, because a lot of us has that immigrant-type relationship. Sometimes it really affects our financial overhead. So you're going to hear me talking a little bit about that. So, Serge, you were never formally taught about money growing up. That's some more of the cultural thing that we all grew up. Like those of us who came from Africa, I don't think we even have that opportunity with our parents sit down with us and talked about money. And I think that is even global. Am I right? You see a lot of places that rarely that people talk to their children about money. When you grew up, right, making money for dollars. That's a great thing, is because some of us growing up in Africa, their work is more of expected. There's no compensation to the work. Like you said, you do work and they give you allowance. That's not, I mean, unless there's some of you who grew up here, I didn't grow up in my family where my mother wanted me to do something and they're going to compensate me on it now. But then I think the idea about money box, if you guys remember those little money box they used to give it to us, it was a way of the parents teaching us that we can start thinking about it. But I don't think it was really a formal training. So some of us didn't even, how many times you go and break the box while no parents are not watching so you can take the money out without really thinking that it's a knowledge concept that they were teaching us, but we never really paid that attention. But I like what Brother Jackson is talking about, because when we watch TV back in the days, the Cosby shows and all of those shows, you can see, Cosby and the parents try to teach the kids about allowances. So there was a lot of those training that even though your parents are not telling you, it was going on. But some of us really didn't grow up with that exposure. All right, so yeah, so we never really had that formal training. This one here, it's more of African thing. That's part of what the immigrants say. Because you send money home while trying to build your future here. And I'm sure everyone else is in that situation. Majority of us are. Well, I got a call from my mother yesterday for the hospital. I got to send money to my mother because she went to the doctor and was given a prescription. I got to pay her medical bills. Last week, she has to go do she's 80 years old, so I'm constantly. And like I said, whilst I'm building your future here, you have a family, you have stuff, but you got to take care of your others. Sometimes it's not just your mothers, but it's our friends, and someone dies in the family, you got to do that. But it's how our community-based stuff, it really drains on us. Have you ever avoided checking your bank account for emotional protection? How many times you want to go open your bank account, you're going to say, "Ooh, all right, let me see what is in there." But that happens sometimes. I mean, I've seen people who are like, is the check here yet? You know, who has done the withdrawal of the account? What has gone? But we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And it's that you feel like you work too hard and still be living paycheck to paycheck. That it's a big problem in America. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Because in America, majority of us, I'm going to show you some statistics soon, majority of us live paycheck to paycheck. And interesting enough, it's that the paycheck to paycheck is more like the American system that it's built in here. Honestly, it's built into the system. If you look at, if someone even ever asks you, so why do you, the pay period, it's more bi-weekly, as against like go to most of these advanced, like third world countries is monthly. Because they put you in a cycle where the paycheck is going to come so you can pay the bills, right? So you depend on that, and if you're not lucky, you get caught in the cycle. And you can live your whole life in that cycle. Paycheck comes in until you find a way to break away. We're going to talk a little bit, we're going to talk more about it today. All right, and this is one thing is, immigrants' paycheck have 17 assignments. Sometimes it's more, right? Yeah, before it even arrives. You know, look at that. Your rent, which is what you have to do here, your groceries, your phone bills, send money home. Church offering. They send money home, like I was just saying what happened to me yesterday. And I'm not even done yet. From here, I got to go take care of a couple other things too. Months just passed, so they're waiting for me to do my duties, right? So we got to factor all these things into whilst we find a way to survive in this country. All right. Let's look at the program today. I know I'm a little formal, so I was going with a time schedule as it is, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about family budget and cash flow, which we're going to be discussing these paycheck situations. We're going to talk about credit card management. The reason why I want to talk about credit card management, it's a big, big challenge for a lot of us. I would love to hear from you when we get there, how you're managing your credit card. So maybe some ideas that I can learn, I'll share some with you. We're going to do retirement plan. The reason why I like retirement planning is I've officially left my organization, but I'm also in the retirement preparation. I'm over 61 years old, so I'm getting to the retirement. I'm sure a lot of you are either thinking about it or we're going to get there. Are we ready for it? Right? We're going to talk about college funding strategies. So it's either we are helping our children to do our grandkids are coming up. So there's these ideas that we all can share in terms of that. I know we're going to break, but we'll see how it goes. We're going to play with the time. My favorite topic that I like to talk about usually is the Generation 1 and legacy planning. Because majority of us, we are immigrants. Most of us have no clue what we're doing. And the American system is designed. See, that's the thing that sometimes we struggle with, we immigrants. We don't know how American system is designed. Financially. American system designed totally different from how my country is designed, where we're from. It's the other third world countries are catching up a little bit. But what makes American great? It's the way the financial systems are designed. If you tap into it, and if you know how it works, you'll be successful. If you let the system flow by itself, you'll be buried in. And it gets worse. It gets worse with technology. It gets worse with the way things are going. Until we become conscious and we make the effort to embrace it, we're just going to be in a cycle. So we're going to talk about those ones as well. We'll go through some actions, which I recommend to you guys. What are some of the things that you can do? Recommend it. All right, so let's talk about these statistics. Why are we here today? Why do we want to have this conversation? Because of this. As I mentioned, paycheck to paycheck. Based on American financial strategy, I think I forgot what source it is, but 64% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Like the system is designed in such a way that at least you can live the paycheck to paycheck and just keep going. How do you break away from that? Unless we take care of certain things. We're going to talk about that. $0 saved for retirement by 33% of workers. How many people even, I know some of you, I work in the corporate for 24 years. And my first 3, 4 years, no one talked to me about. I mean, well, it was they talk about retirement strategies, but never pay attention to it because it wasn't discussed within my community, which is one. And two, because most of us came from outside and our parents didn't grow up in this country, we don't even understand how the retirement strategy works. You never seen any family member going through the retirement as in America. So sometimes it's not like you don't want to do it, but you don't have the knowledge. You've never experienced it. But if you've grown up here, you were born, you see your parents go through that, the awareness. Your parents are going to talk to you about. My parents are still back in Africa. I mean, retired and they're living the African way. Totally different from how we do it here. Until we become aware and put the effort and consciousness into it, we're not going to make any provisions for that. And there's a lot of my own friends and people that I talk to have no clue what they're doing. We're going to talk about that. So we're going to talk about credit card and debit and all of that. So it's a 38,000 average credit card debt per U.S. household. Man, that's a huge amount of money. On the average, 38,000, like on every family, including the man, the father, the mother, the daughters, and all of it. We're looking at that. And this one is for retirement wealth. It says a 20-year head start. And I'll explain that to you as we go along. So there's a lot of these ideas that I think we would like to discuss as we go along. But then it's a hard work alone does not automatically create wealth. That's where the paycheck to paycheck. Someone says, I work too hard. I get paycheck, but I'm broke. Why? Because you don't have a system, you don't have a structure in place. That's where strategy matters. Without a proper strategy, I'm telling you, it's going to be difficult. I'm not saying you guys are not doing that, but sometimes if the strategy that you're doing is working for you, if it's working for you, please go. Don't stop. Keep going. But if it's not, rethink about it. I'm going to give you some ideas here. So income without a plan creates financial stress, not financial freedom. And financial stress, it can lead to so many things. We're going to talk a little bit about that as we go along. All right. Any questions before I move to the family budgeting and the cash flows? Any questions or you have any questions? Okay. All right. Let's move to the family budget. Why I like the family budget is you have to understand where your money goes. Right? Because the thing is that we talk about paycheck to paycheck. The money comes in. Where does it go? I bet you if you sit, sometimes you watch your money, you wonder, what the paycheck is coming in. And I was I did an analysis for someone one day, and they were called financial needs analysis. And it was funny when we're looking at it, he makes more money than in his mind he spends. But he has nothing. So the question is, are you sure you're looking at it well? But you see, that is a trick with money. I'm not here to talk about psychology of money, but I read several books about psychology of money. And sometimes we think about money as the cash that comes in. Now, money is mental. Money is conscious. Money is understanding what money does. You ever know, I always give this analogy about socks. You ever put socks in a dryer and you get up and you can't find the other one? You ever get one of those? It's like, I know I put it in there. Where'd the other one go, right? And now you want to wear it or you want to put it away and you can't find it. That's money. It's all about being conscious about where you do it. So I can have, that's the difference. I remember I used to work with this gentleman. It was funny. Stacy, loved this guy. I make more money than Stacy. I was his boss. But Stacy was doing some amazing things I couldn't believe. How do you pay off your car and I can barely pay my car? And Stacy would look at and say, Pat, are you sure you're looking at your money right? It's like, yeah, I'm looking at it. It's like, no, you're not looking at your money. Then I had a conversation with him one time. He walked in my office. I said, sit down. What are you doing? And I'm like, there we go. Because he's strategizing. Buy the car. I'm paying the car in 6 months. Go. right? His goal is I'm paying the car in 6 months. Then he goes back and says, so how much is coming in? If I want to pay the car in 6 months, this is what I have to do. He religiously disciplined, stays at it. 6 months, car is paid off. Doesn't cost him anything. Money's still there. He just had to cut few areas to be able to achieve that. That is the strategic plan you always have to think about. Okay? So we're going to dig into a little bit of where your money goes. Well, I was asking you. This is a pie chart that really talks about how usually or recommended as I would distribute. So 30% will go into your housing and rent, right? And you have your food and dining or groceries, 13%, transportation, all of that. And then you get your debt payment, 12%, entertainment, and you have all of those. But let me ask you a question. Do you know your exact monthly expenses? A lot of us don't know. Apart from the big expense, how do you do the little ones? Going to the funeral to pay some donation to a funeral in the community, African community, we don't budget those things because you don't know when it's going to happen. At the end of the month, did you go back and look at the fact that I put $200 or $300 towards a funeral? And then in this case, you can adjust your budget. A lot of us probably don't even do that. But that's the key. That's the key to how you can really change the financial rhythm of how your money is going, right? Are you tracking what you spend dining out? I know that these things are more stuff that we don't do, but if we can really in our mind be conscious of this, because everything I'm talking about is taking an action, being conscious about that. How much is going towards your debt versus savings? That's where you hear me talking about the way the American system is structured. These are the things you really have to focus on. And if you focus on it, that makes someone who's wealthy or rich, all right? That's why you hear some of these superstars, they make so much money, but at the end, they broke because they didn't put a system and process in place. And what will happen if you lose income for 2 months? Are we ready in case tomorrow we can't go? But we all know that. I mean, if I want to give you a reason why I become conscious of money was something that happened to me 2 years ago while I was working. After this episode with my coworker, and I had a medical scare thing, and immediately it caught my attention and said, woo. So if I was sick and I couldn't do what I had to do, and the money stopped coming, what would I have done? It started hitting me. That's why I started looking into this. I realized, shoo, I'm losing out on a lot of things. Then I started to understand where my friend was coming from. Then I started putting plans together, started looking into all of that and making sure, even though I'm not saying I'm there yet, it's still in process. But at least the consciousness and being aware and putting yourself in there, it's always good. Anybody has a budget? How many of you have a budget that you work with? Okay. All right. I'm sure that we're all going to get it. Because the budget is a conscious effort. Right? And I know my immigrant friend, trust me, you can. It's hard to keep a budget. Like I said, I got a call from my mother that's sick yesterday. That was not my budget. How do I keep it in the budget? So I had to find a way to do. Or I got to go to a funeral in Ghana. Something happens. Unfortunately, you lose a loved one. Now you got to make the provision to go. How do you factor that into the budget? But then it's the same amount of money that you're working to get. You need to cover that for it. So it becomes very difficult to maintain it, right? But it's a factor. But the only thing that if we start be conscious, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some of these ideas here. If we're conscious about that, we can put something on the side for those emergency situations. And therefore, it makes us ready. We should be conscious. I mean, if nothing happens, it's your money. But if something happens, you're ready. Right? Okay. Let's look at this. This is called the silent leaks. As you hear me asking you, do you know where your money goes? Subscription, your Netflix, your Hulus. I'm sure you probably get, some of you have kids and stuff. Your kids, well, my daughter, they wanted to watch Netflix. When my daughter was young, we always wanted to go get back in the days, the DVDs to watch on weekends. And so there's a little money that comes out. right? So they call them the silent leaks. The Amazon, I'm sure we all love Amazon, don't we? There's a gentleman by name David Bach. He's one of the honest, renowned financial strategists. I listened to him a few times, and he talked about something that's going on in the country right now called the automatic economy. So we are in the automatic economy. Does anybody knows what it means? Automatic, yeah, I like the word terrible. Automatic economy. Automatic economy, it's you don't go out there to buy, they bring it to you. You automatically buying things. How many of you actually have probably bought something in the middle of the night? You probably we all have, right? You ever get a ding on your phone, probably 9:30, and it's like Amazon say, hey, I found something that you may like. And next time you realize, you probably don't even need that. But guess what? Psychologically, you buy, oh, this would be nice to have. And next time you're buying it, it happens all the time. And if you have young kids, you see the Amazon being dropped at your front door every time. It happens in my house. My daughter's, it's like, what are you doing? Oh, something that I need. It's a makeup stuff. I'm sorry for the ladies. I'm sure you're all buying. Because in these days, they bring it to you. You see this beautiful lady dressed up in something and immediately you want it. Because that's how we are. So we're becoming impulsive to that kind of stuff. That's what we call impulse buying. Any question? Same principle. Same principle. So you release that authority by you going it, but they show it to you. It makes you release that authority, they grab it. See, and then he says something that really phenomenal. So the phone, our mobile phone, is a terrible thing. Because the mobile phone is either going to make you poor, it's going to make you rich or make someone else rich. So that's the automatic. So your mobile phone is going to make you rich by knowing how to use it to get more money, or it's going to make someone else rich because they're going to get into you now. Back in the days, if you want, I don't think you can go to, if you want something from China, you probably have to fly to, Guangzhou or something like that to be able to buy. And these days, it's in your bedroom. We all like all kinds of stuff, but then it gets to the point where we spend that into it. Dining out, groceries, all right, all the food stuff. You go these days, how many times, when was the last time you went to, Starbucks? They have all flavorful drinks now, all right? All these, this, and all the flavorful. So they get you to buy, I want to try that. I remember when I used to work at my office, every morning, these ladies would come in with different flavors. Did you try this flavor, caramel, this, and it'd be like, so now what? You also want to go try it. It's all this little money that goes out because of that. And look at that. If you spend $15 a day on the coffee runs and stuff, that alone takes you $450 of your money subconsciously. So the idea is being able to understand that it really helps you. Bank fees. We all know what those are. We always see those little, and the trick they do. If you keep $2,000, you don't pay bank fees. They know how many people can keep $2,000 in the account. How many people can keep $2,000? Only a few people. So the bank is now going to charge you, but they put that on you as, no bank fees. But if you keep $2,000 minimum, how many people can do that? So they make money. Lately, they've been changing with the ATM fees. Anybody been to Ghana, then you try to use the ATM? Go to Africa and you try to use the ATM? See the charges? Unbelievable. I took my Truist card, right? One time, pop it in, charged me $5 for one transaction. Yeah. Well, so the bank here, it's not available there. So you have to go through a subsidiary bank. Another bank there, they will let you, because of a visa, they will allow you to do the transaction, but the charges. Remember even here, you go to a different bank's ATM, they do an ATM charge. Some banks are now neutralizing that, but for the longest time, it used to be charged. But when you are abroad, it charge you more. I remember years ago when I used to do my job. I used to travel a lot around the world, and I was in Cambodia one time. So what I used to do is, as soon as I got to the airport, I'll do the exchange just so I have the local currency. And one time I needed to use an ATM card. I pulled the ATM card and put the code in, get my money. They charged me $20 for that transaction. No, 20 US dollars. $20 for transaction. I saw it, I'm like, God. Well, how do but how many, if you're stuck there, I know like my wife who's in Ghana most of the time now, she's losing a whole bunch of money from that. Once in a while she has to go to ATM to get money because she can't do that. So that alone, monthly maintenance and all of that, those are minimum payments. I'm going to talk about that when we get to credit cards because it's really important for us to look at that. All right. I like this. Amazon knows some of us better than our own spouses, right? Because we talk to Amazon every night. Whilst we don't even talk to our own spouses. All right? You open your app to look at some how cards at 14. Any questions, guys, before I move in a little more detail? I hope this is good for you. All right? No, go ahead. Which one? Yeah. Right, automatically create wealth. Yeah, that's where strategy matters. So you don't. It's not like going to work and come back and then you feel like you make no. In order for you to be able to make, you need to strategize. That's fair. You strategize, you put a structure in place, and you discipline about it, and you see the change that happens. Yeah, that's what it is. Oh, right, I always bring you a microphone. Yeah. Oh, okay. So you want okay. So we're going to use. Oh, if you have questions, use it. Okay. Great, thank you. No, you're right. Because if you don't have the structure, this is what I was saying, my friend. No, if you have a structure, perhaps making 40,000 and be doing stuff, and you make 200,000, and you broke. That's how money strategy works. If you don't put it in different buckets, but like I said, the strategy depends. Not everyone's strategy is the same. You have your strategy that might work for you. I have mine that works for me. But if it's not working for you, then you got to think something. You got to think about it. All right, let's go to where we were. Yes. I like this rule. There's 50-30 or what's called a 5-3-2 rule. America has been advised that out of the money that you make, break them down into 5-3-2 rule. So 50% of it is going to go to your overhead expense, what you call your needs. So your rent, your mortgage, utilities, your transportation, your insurance, and then 30% goes to your wants. You know, the beautiful clothing, the shopping, all the dining out. And then 20% will go to your savings and then money that you want to keep on your debt. But this is just a guide. I don't want you to think that it has to be religiously that way. It depends on how you manage it. But the focus is really on the saving aspect. Because the saving aspect becomes what your dependency is going to be on it. If you feel like this 50-30 is tight, you can do 60-20. I've seen people who say, okay, because my needs are 60 on that part, and maybe I'll do 20 here, or there's a 70-10. But try to keep the 20 for your savings if you can. I'm not saying that sometimes some people are tied up, maybe wrong decisions or things that you get yourself in, you're tied up. But be conscious. Start from somewhere. I'm going to talk about some basics, ideas that we can really look, that will help us really get into some ideas. And like I said, immigrant families. That's what it says. If you send money home regularly, build that into your needs and your wants bucket because you don't know when it's going to happen. If it happens, you're ready for it. If it doesn't happen, it's your money. But make sure you make that provision. Put it into your needs because it's becoming really imperative that you might get a call from a family member that we need to do this. So it's really, really important for us to think about that. But try to manage it to a point where at least there's a little bit of the savings. And it doesn't have to be a same system. I have adopted a different system for myself. I'm leveraging cash-based life insurance strategy as my way of putting my 20%. Right? So initially, I know that with the projection is going to grow, and I use that as part of my emergency funding. We're going to talk a little bit about that too. So you can open in a bank account. These days, you have a checking account. You can open a 20 account, like a savings account from the same one, and maybe you can direct it, or you can do something somewhere and set it to automatically go in. The automatic part is where it's important. Because if you have it set up where it automatically get drafted into it so you don't feel it. But if you have to go out there to do it all the time, there's going to be days you look at the money and say, man, this money got something to do. This money got something to do, and I cannot put it there. But if you do that, interesting enough, it's how the same amount, if it's automatically being drafted, you're not going to feel it. But if you have to do it consciously, you're going to feel it. That's where the structure and the discipline comes in. It's interesting how money works, the psychology of money. All right, any questions on this slide? Because I like this because it really just your mind. And really see the need for you to put it that way. All right, so this is I don't want to. So this is what I call the financial seat belt, and why it's your emergency, the 20% that we're talking about, right? So 3 to 6 months of living expense. You got to make sure that you have that. When I say sure, that means if you can. I always advise if you can. Be conscious about that because it's all those emergency situations. You lose your job, you lose a family member, or some reason you can't do anything. At least you can depend on it. I had a friend of mine, I think it was last week, we were talking about these, and it's like, back in Africa or Ghana where we come from, the community will come to support. We do well. I gave it to my fellow Ghanaians here. We come to support. And thanks to Brother Jackson and your wife, you guys are always with us in situations like that. You come to support. So I commend you for that great job because you're not really from Ghana, where it's just more of a cultural thing for us. But you understand us, and we know all the help that you help us stepping up front to do it for us. So I thank you. I thank you for that. But us, it becomes more like a responsibility. For us, it's more like a cultural thing. So we become responsible and dependable on doing that because that's how we grew up. That's how we were brought up. That's how our parents did. Right? So it becomes part of us. Right? So you really have to make that conscious. Otherwise, when it happens, are you ready? So I was saying that 3 to 6 months of living, say in a high-yield saving account, do not use for non-emergencies. Use it only for an emergency. But like I said, whatever strategy you're going to adopt, it's do something that's comfortable. Please don't overstretch yourself to a point where you can pay your credit cards and all those things, and I'm going to talk about it because at the end, then it's useless to you, right? So it says start with $1,000 as your starter emergency fund. Then work towards 3 months. You can automate 50 to 100 per paycheck. That's where the automation thing comes in. $50. You'll be surprised. I'm going to show you some little numbers here. Direct into a separate savings account I was just talking about. And next time you realize you got some money to work on. All right? $5 daily habits. This $5 daily habits is one of the things that I think we all should be able to teach our children. Right? Because it's some of the things that we don't really think about it. And I remember, I mentioned David Batch. He did a presentation somewhere, and an older lady came up to him and says, so how can I, you keep talking about the fact that for retirement and all that stuff, it's good when you start young, but how can I do? And it tricked my mind is, if I come up to you right now, and I ask you, say, can you put $1,000 down? I'm sure you're probably going to say, whoa, no, at this stage right now, I don't think I have enough to put $1,000 down. Every month, put $1,000 on the side. But if I come to you and I say, can you put a $20 a day? What would you say? You can do that, right? But if you put $20 a day, you know how much it comes in a month? $1,200. But when I ask you $1,000, you say no. But when you get to $20, you're able to do it because in your mind, that's where money is. in a mind, $20, I can do it. Guess what? That's $12. That's even more than what I ask you. That's what this $5 daily exercise thing is. Be conscious of the fact that I put $10 here. I can afford $10 a day. But that's coffee. Okay, maybe I won't drink the coffee. I won't buy the lunch and I'll put it somewhere. Cumulatively, compounding, it will grow. That's where I give this year. If you do that, 1 year you get 1,800. And this is even when you put into a straight account. If you put it into an account that has some interest rate added, like let's say compounded growth of interest, like some of the one that I would recommend, like cash-based life insurance, that goes to 7 or 8%. That 20 years, if you do that, you'll be almost $100,000. It will get you that much. If you can put $100, I can bet you can sit down and do $50 on a child. By the time the child is 40 years old, they can get probably $1.7 million. You believe that? Just $50 a day, a month. Just even $50 a month. If you get the proper vehicle, because I had a gentleman who I helped him put a plan together for his child, and we look at the numbers, right? And he's like, wow, this is unbelievable. The child was only 6 months old. So we said, okay, if you put 200, can you afford 200? Say yes. Okay, for $200 a month. By the time the kid is 18 years old, he had almost $500,000, so he can take college money out of it. So that's one way that he prepares himself for it. And then if after the college, then he's only going to pay for a period of time. I think it's about 10 or 15 years based on the plan that we put together. You stop. By the time the kid is 40 years old, he got $1.7 million to his name. Let it sit. That's the American financial strategy thing that I'm talking about. That's how we don't understand the American system. Because if you understand the American system and adopt some of these strategies, you'll be wealthy if you know how it works. The rich people, that's how they do it. I hate to use the word rich people because when I talk rich, it was like, I don't want to compare myself to them. But that's how these people do. Financial literate. Yeah, that's why we're here. That's why these educations matter. Because when you are conscious and understand how the system works, then you start to understand that, oh, shoot, I can put something together. I can put something on the side. And based on that, I'm going to be able to achieve something. All right? So, and this is even without investment growth, yes. So if you add investment growth to it, that's almost quadruple. Please, if there's any questions, I don't want to be the only guy talking, but I know a lot of you here, so I don't mind. But any questions from anyone? Okay, let's move on. All right, I'm going to talk about credit cards. Anybody has a credit card strategy? What you got? Everyone has a credit card. We all have credit cards, right? You want to talk about something that... So how, if I want to ask you, what do you think in your mind is the best way to manage it? Or what, do you have a plan?
I mean, working in the bank, I know the best way to do is to make sure you pay all your debt every month. Because I'm a banker, I know what we do with people.
And as a banker, do you think that's what everyone is doing?
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
So then, if you're not able to do, what do you think you have to do?
I mean, yes, spend less because, hey, you got to be mindful of how you spend your money. And if you're unable to pay that off every month, just don't do it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's the goal. Well, the goal with finance, credit cards. Okay, you go ahead.
This is what I do. My credit card, I get cash back. So I use it for grocery. I use it for everything. And then at the end of the month, I pay it. Because if I know I have to spend $100 on grocery this week, I will use my credit card because I'm getting cash back. So that helps me a lot. And most of the time, like my credit card, like I think every 3 months, 6 months, they will tell me how much cash back or reward that I have, which benefits me. Before, I used to have a credit card that was giving me mileage as well. So every month I pay it off. I get my mileage. When I'm traveling, I use it. Then, I don't have to. But that one was charging me yearly fee. So I stopped that one. But this one gives me cash back. So I pay it off. I don't, they never get interest from me.
That's good. But I know as a banker, they probably don't like you, though. You don't like it, right? The banks are not going to like someone like her. Because the thing about what, and I think, Brother Jackson, you and I talked about something, the avalanche, and I think the avalanche and then the snowball. We're going to talk about that. I think he knows about it. He mentioned that to me one time, so smart idea. The thing with credit cards, it's the purpose of it. It's not to use the way you're using it, but it's good to use it the way you use it because as an individual, it protects you. But I like the perks because if you're gonna base on the perks or the benefits or those things that comes into it, then it makes a lot of sense. But then also, it's good to use it because it gives you that financial volume to do something down the road. So also, if you get a good credit, then in case you want to buy something, you get lower and you can save money. So I will advise people to use credit cards, just to use it wisely. But the credit card, that's one of the things about the American system. The credit cards is your avenue to gain some money. Because if my credit score is worse than yours, right, you get a better credit score, and you and I go to apply for the same thing, I'll pay more than you, right? Because they use your credit score. They use, and we're going to talk a little bit about it. You use all the mechanisms to determine your cost. So it's not like the car is, $20,000 or $30,000, or you and I are going to go there, we are going to pay the same thing now. It depends on your credit score, and the credit score is really important. So something like what you're doing, it's good, but then also, I'm going to talk a little about it. Also, it's not too good if your goal is to build the credit. Because the Americans, what they call the FICO score, you all know the FICO score? I don't know if you've been working at a bank, you probably know all the scores. There are different type of scores. They use that scores to make their determination. And your score, it's, I think there's 6 or 7 variables. How long is your credit open? How much is your credit volume? Right? DTI, debt to, what do you call the debt to tax ratio, right? Debt to index ratio, right? Good. Debt to right income ratio. So there's different variables that determines that. So from you as a banker, do you think that it's good to have credit cards?
Definitely, yes. It is good.
Yes.
Yes.
Because it helps you to be able to do what? Secure a lot of things in here. So I will advise, have the credit cards, but just manage it well. I remember last time when we were online, there was one lady that asked a question that she had closed all her credit cards and put them into one. And then she's surprised why her credit score is not going up. That's a bad strategy. That is a bad strategy. Because your score is based on different variables. Length and the amount of credit cards that you have. It also determines, because so long as you are below 30%, I'm going to talk a little bit about that, below 30% of your overall credit, you can get 700, 800 score in no time. Right? Go ahead.
Be honest with you, I don't know, but I have good credit score. And then the way I pay my credit card, it's like the money I have to spend. Mm-hmm. So if, let's say I buy something June 1st, I have a whole month. I have the whole month, which is, credit card. When the bill comes, you have to pay it within the month. So to me, it's helping me.
No, it does.
I don't know. But
no, as an individual, that's the smartest way to do it. It's the banks I'm saying they're not going to like you because they're not making out money out of you. But it's the right thing to all of us to do.
Yeah. Because I'm going to spend it anyway. Either way, you still have to pay for it. So why do I have to just pay the minimum payment and pay all this interest? Yeah.
That is the right thing. So as an individual, that's your goal. Your goal is to minimize the overhead charges. But for the entire American system, the banks and the financial institution, they want it the other way around because that's where what they make the money. But it's up to you, right? So it depends on the type of card because the more credit cards do you have, then it gives you that volume. Because when your debt to income ratio, it's within below 30%, that gives you the money power. They lock people like that because they can then give their money to you knowing that you're going to be able to pay. If you can go to two different companies, one will approve you, the other will not approve you, and sometimes you wonder what's going on. It's because they use different scores. And it's all depending on the type of credit you have. Good credit, bad credit. All right? So what you have is a good credit because your balance is what? Less than 20%. That's also another thing. Because you see, the thing that the credit card companies do usually most of the time in a month, the system itself calculates it. So when you have a credit card, and then if you ever subscribe to credit cards online, give them your emails, then you always get a message that says your statement is available. You ever get any of those? Your statement is available. Do you know, because I learned this strangely the other day. So the day that you get your statement, that took the credit card, it's when they count the 30 days. Right? So even though your payment is not due till 2 weeks later, they cannot credit you for the following payment. On the day, so sometimes someone says it's not due to June 30th. And June 18th, you get a letter, or June 20th, usually about 3-4 days to that. Your credit card statement is ready. On that day, it's when that means that they've credited the money that you brought before, added to your balance. So when you pay on the 30th, guess what? It cannot be applied to the payment, your account. Therefore, the APR is going to be applied even though you pay the money. So we have to be very conscious. And this is where we lose money we don't realize. Because when you get a letter says it's due today, if I were you, go pay right away if you have the money. So before that, or what you probably want to do is watch that. Maybe it comes on the certain day. Pay before that so they can credit. Because when you get the letter or the notification, and it's already been credited from the previous payment, so now from that going is your balance. They apply the interest on that balance. So even though you pay within the month, it's still being applied. All right, go ahead.
So when you have the automatic pay set on the day, because sometimes they give you like maybe a week before they tell you, okay, we'll be taking your money. What should you be looking at? Is that, because from what you're telling me, is like you have to do it manually, but for the ease of mind, I like to have it set automatically.
That is a good question. What you want to do is you want to change the day of the drafting. Move it forward. Move it forward. And even if they don't give you the option on your website, give them a call. Give them a call. Because, see, that's what I'm saying. The banks aren't going to like it because they have a system in place to, even though you're religiously paying, they have a system in place to take your money. Because that's why they make them rich. But we have to be knowledgeable enough to know how to manage it, to be able to help us for them not to take the money out of us. But either way, we're going to get hit here and there. But the knowledge about how you can manage that helps you to be able to kind of curtail this type of situation. So the order payment is important. Go ahead.
Angie, do you always look at your statements? Because this is what I do. When I get I have to look at every bit. Because sometimes there are hidden charges that you don't know. And there's one time I don't have Amazon account or whatever. I haven't buy anything from Amazon. Yet I saw Amazon. So I was telling myself why. So I called them. They said, oh, you have to call your Amazon account. I said, I don't even have Amazon. I don't even use Amazon for anything. So why are all these charges? So these are hidden charges that sometimes if you don't look, I could have just say automatic payment, and they always take it, take it, take it. You don't even pay attention to your statement. So the most important thing is to look at your statement. Or I look at it line by line. If you charge me even $2, I will call you and get my money back. Yeah.
Well, that's a good approach. We're going to talk about some of the things that we have to do. We're looking at your statement every month or as often. These days it's online on your phones. Please be conscious about charges. And set your phone, like I did on my account, whenever there's a transaction, I get an alert. Whether I did it or someone else did it. So I'm always conscious of how much, even if it's $10, it's going to give me an alert. And these days they have all those tools in place, so it keeps you monitoring. Now, this doesn't sound like something I'm familiar with. Then you got to go call them, figure out what's going on. All right, so the bad debt, you all know what those bad debts are. So credit card balance at 20, luxury car loans you can afford. Some of us buy now, pay later traps, and all that, pay their loans. But these are the ones that I would say good debt, but it can be bad if you don't manage it. Home ownership, I know that I've seen people say home ownership is good, but there are some people who doesn't need to own a home. Just live in an apartment, I'm telling you. Because own a home, as much as you think is good to get, if you don't know how to manage it, please, because I've seen people who's like, oh, I get $50,000, refinance, go get the money. You see people doing that all the time, but you got to be very careful because you can get stuck into it, and to a point, it's going to really kill you. So even though it's a good debt, it can be bad if you don't manage it. Same as student loan, business investment loans. All these loans are good because what? It gives you a value. When the one gives you a value, like business loans, you take business loans, they're going to charge you a little bit. So this is what they call the arbitrage financing. And what arbitrage means that the percentage they charge you, you're able to use the money to get, they charge you 4%, use the money to get 7%. So you get 3%, what they call the spread. So we call that arbitrage. When those things are to your favor, when the value you gain is always higher than the money that comes in. Why mortgage loans become good? It's you buy the house at $300,000, now probably it's appreciated at $500,000, it's a $200,000 spread. How do you get so that's where it becomes good because it gives you that value added with the amount of money that you take. But with that being said, goes back to what we're talking about payment, right? So one thing you want to avoid is late charges, please. Number one, the worst you can, even if you cannot pay, just pay the minimum. Pay the minimum. So the way the cycle works on credit cards, when the credit card cycle comes in the 30 days, because it's a Roman credit card, you're going to be hit with it. Like I said, if you pay it after the day of the account processing, even though you're going to pay, it's going to go through the 30-day cycle, and then whatever APR charges you have will be applied to it. So at least if you pay the minimum to the bank, you commit to what we're supposed to pay. But if you can pay just a little bit above the minimum, it will change it because of the application is the balance. So if I'm supposed to pay $100 and I'm paying $200, just look at that. Pay $100 minimum, it will take you 27 years, right? Of that $5,000 credit, it will take you 27 years to pay $5,000. But you pay an extra $100, it will 3 years. See the gap? Because that $100 extra brings down the principal, brings down the outstanding balance. So when they apply the APR, you get that. You guys all know that. And then if you do 400, look at that, less than, and all they can get is 600 compared to 8,300. I bet these are some of the things that most of us will know, but it's all based on this: your credit score. Credit score, it's really, really important. That's one thing that I say America is based on that. Most of the advanced countries, America, Canada, they're all based on these things. That's why you and I can go to buy the same thing I pay different from you. It's based on where you fall within the score. All right? The lower your score, the worse you pay. The better your score, the better your score, the better you pay. The lower, the worse your score, But these are what the score is built on. So that was one thing I was saying. That's your payment history. Pay on time every time. That's 35%. So you get a good score. You're going to get a good score. The only problem is that when you look at another thing, which is length of credit history or mix of the cards and different things, because they add all those into it to determine some banks will say, we're not going to give you a loan. Not because your score is not good, but you probably don't have the lengthy credit, or you don't have a lot of value, or the money. What they say is the utilization, to use the word. You have, if you get a 50, sometimes you got about $100,000. There's a trick that I learned from this guy. He was saying that one thing you can always go to do with your credit cards is, can you increase the limit? Right? Because look at this. Because they're using the 30% utilization, right? And my credit is $10,000, and I owe $4,000. That's 40,000. That's 40% utilization, right? So in this case, when they start to do my credit evaluation, it's going to hit me in a score. But if I ask them to increase it to 20,000, what my 4,000 put it? We're less than 30. Right? So all these things about strategically thinking about it. You look at it and say, whoa, I'm hitting the 30% margin. I don't have the money to do it. Your next step is, can I ask these people to increase it? They make chances are created based on the credit history. They increase it, it puts you below that. So in this case, they give you a lower rate. Right? So everything is strategic when it comes to finance. Debt. I'm telling you, some people hate debt. You hate debt. You hate debt. How many of you hate debt? We all do. If I tell you that I'm not really a hater of debt, I just make use of debt. Your debt can be your most rich. I'm not saying I'm rich, but most people use debt to their advantage. That's where the arbitrage idea from. And do you understand what I mean by that? If I borrow at 3% or 4%, 5%, and I use it because I like to put them into business. So I don't care. If I owe you $100,000, guess what? I'm going to turn $100,000 into $400,000. Right? So it's all about consciousness. So you always want to think about what you want to use the money for. Because if you have the conscience about using the money to get you ahead, sometimes don't think too much. I know someone says, yeah, these people, the loans are too much. I say, yeah, they are. But why do you think others are going for that? Because they know that they can put it in vehicles, assets, properties that will give them more money than the loan that you're taking. Right? So you always want to be conscious about that. So don't go take that money and go buy a luxury car. Oh, I'm sorry. That will kill you. That definitely is going to kill you, right? Because that's what some people do. They're going to take the $200,000 money and then go buy a car. But then there's also another strategy that I love, which is where you use cash-based life insurance, what you do, having what they call your own banking system. You guys familiar with what they call your IDC, individual banking? You build your own bank. There's a way you can do that. You know how you do that? Leveraging life insurance. Called the IDC. Right? You build your own bank. So what you do with life insurance, it's where do you put it? If you have a good, what they call the cash-based life insurance, and look for a company that does something they call participating loans. So what you do is you take the money from them, all right? Buy the car, right? And then you pay the money into your insurance. So instead of you paying a bank, the car is like $200 or $300, put that $300 back into your insurance. The car is already paid for. And a lot of companies out there that would do that. So long as you get approved for $1 million plan, pay about a year or two, you can go and say, give me $50,000 to go buy the car. And then you go to the bank, while you're buying the car, and say, hey, if I buy this car from you, what would be my monthly payment? So monthly payment is going to be $600. You know what? Go to the insurance company, borrow the $50,000, buy the car. Every month, you put a $600,000 into your plan. Guess what? That plan is going to grow for you. That's your bank. It's a strategy that a lot of the people that do. So you have your own banking. You can even use that to buy anything. So a lot of people will build it. It takes time to build it. Let's like the bank. The banks just don't start with no money. So you build it. Mortgage. I'm gonna tonight, and if I can invite you guys to, I'm hosting an event tonight. I can put it on a platform. I'm hosting an event at 7:00 on something called mortgage acceleration plan. And basically, what we do is show people where you can leverage the IDC to pay your mortgage. I'll send it to you guys too. It's at 7:00 tonight. Banks, oh yeah. Banks, oh yeah. The banks all have insurance. That's what they use. Your bank, if you like, go ask your bank how much money they have in insurance. They're going to tell you they have billions. They'll go and look for something called BOLI, B-O-L-I. Look for something they call BOLI. Banks own life insurance. You're going to see that the banks have billions in life insurance. And they use that. So when you go to borrow money from them, they go take it from there. Because they know that they take it from there at 3%. They give it to you at 20%. You pay 20%. They pay the 3%. Who wins? The bank wins. That's how they do it. All right? So you can do your own. You can create your own. But you got to build it. If there's a strategy, you can do that. You can pay your mortgage. And that's what we're going to talk about. So now, there's a book that a friend of mine and I, we collaborate on it. I can show you. The book is called Mars Fund. I think I have some in my bag. So I'll find one. I'm going to be one of these sessions. I hope that we can get a lot more awareness. I can come and we'll talk about the Mars Fund, Mortgage Acceleration Resuscitation Funding, where it can help you with your mortgage. But it's the same strategy, though. You put it there, grow, take the money, use it to pay your mortgage, use it to do anything, and therefore gives you more control. All right. I know that. Go ahead. Oh, almost one. Oh, okay.
Can your kids have life insurance to
Absolutely.
use? Can you talk a little bit about that? Can you start for them, or they have to start it themselves? Like you're 18 and above.
Okay. So the thing about life insurance, if I want to spend time to, yeah. 6 months, so long as they get Social Security, 6 months and up. I have so many of them, I advise them all the time. The thing about life insurance, the life insurance of 40 years ago changed. A life insurance 40 years ago was to protect you when you die. It's a legacy plan. So I remember, if I want to go back to the history, like during the World War, when they realized people were dying and that the government didn't have anything to give it, so there's a outright in life insurance. But it has grown. I mean, it has transformed over the years. I mean, I think about 20 years ago, they started the what do you call, the whole life insurance. And even now, they have a new system which they've done probably 10, 12 years ago called the Index Universal Life Insurance. And that's your best one to invest in. Index Universal Life Insurance. So, and it's for the kids. The reason why it's for the kids is that, as I was telling you about how I have a friend of mine, you build that foundation. You build that foundation because the thing about Index Universal Life has two criteria that qualify. One is your health. So when it's a baby, you get 190% chance of the people. And then the cool thing about it is, it's that you, the parent, can be the owner of the policy because you're young. So they use your income and they use the kid's health. So you can, and then the rates are based on different criteria. Coming like elite, the person is elite tobacco based on the premium. All of that determines how much money that you be charged for the policy, right? Because you have to understand it. So if you have a child, it's good. It's a good strategy. I mean, how the college fund, I don't know if you have enough time. There's a college idea, that 529 and other stuff, but I would recommend cash-based life insurance because cash-based life insurance gives you that control and the ability to show how you can grow. And if anybody's interested, I can sit down with you, do illustration for you to see the numbers. But it's good to have it for the kids. And one other cool thing is, and that's what I did, that's what I'm going to tell you, is that at my age or at your age, obviously, based on the age to determine your age and your health. If you're based on your age to determine your rate, if I go in, it's going to be a lot more expensive for me. So what? I'll use my child. I put on my child, the rates are better. So instead of me building my own family bank, I use my daughter to build a family bank. So her and I build a $2 million family bank. Contribute towards it. Build that finance. So if I need it, that's what I was saying. My strategy is that one. I use that as my emergency funding. So I'm putting my money in there, and every time I look at it, it's growing, it's compounding. Give it about 6 or 7 years, it's money for you to go to. My daughter's protected, so that becomes what? My generation and my legacy plan. Right? So these are some of the things that we all have to be conscious about. So that was a good question. If you put on the children, because of the fact that maybe you and our health may not qualify for, and mine, it wouldn't even qualify for. I get 2 knee replacement, my elbows, my head hurts, so they don't even want to talk to me. But they talk to my child, right? So it's, please, if you haven't done that, think about it. Think about it. I will advise for you to embark on that. Or advise your friends and your children to really get into that, because it's really, really a good opportunity to make a lot of money. All right. I know that but I like this conversation. Please, ask the questions. You and I talk about snowball and avalanche method. All right, so that's where another method that people use to pay their credit cards. Either you pay the smaller ones first, or you pay the ones with the higher interest. So there are different ways that you can pay. But either way, it all depends on how your money is. Because if you don't have the money, I wouldn't want you to say, oh, the interest is higher on this one, even though it's what? It's 50,000 or something. Therefore, I'm going to kill myself to pay. It's going to kill you. You have to do something that's comfortable for you, right? So it's great for most families starting out, right? And great if you have strong and discipline, because this requires a lot of discipline strategy, because you're always looking at, you're saving the most in interest, and as you optimize it, right? So you pay minimums on all except higher rate, attack highest interest with extra money, right? And then you roll payments down when each is paid. So when that's paid and you bring it down, that's what the avalanche. So the avalanche comes down, snowball from the lowest to the highest. But please, it's not a prisoner strike. It's what's comfortable for you. But be conscious of the fact that you really want to cut down on the interest and the outstanding expense, because the more you carry those, it kills you from the financial growth and financial freedom. All right. We'll talk about retirement. Anybody has any question on this? I like the conversation. Please, if you have anything outside what we're talking about, ask, because that's where we're here. All right? And we're going to do more of these. I'm hoping that.
Break.
Need a break.
I'm going to talk about retirement. How many of you who are in the process of becoming retired? I think we all are, right? Because we all work, so I'm sure in the retirement. Go ahead. Oh, sure. You want to take it? I think there was a break after this, but I think we can take a break.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the way we planned it out, it didn't come out the way we wanted, so I want to apologize.
Yeah, there's some coffee and tea and some juice in the ice
I think we
chest
also, have some water
over
and
there.
juice at
Yeah.
the back. I need one of those. But please, think about some questions to ask. All right. Sorry about that. It's like I said, where we grew up, we all care about our parents, all right? I mentioned yesterday we have to go take care of my aging parents. But in America, your children may love you deeply, but they also have rent, student loans, and your family. So it's not that the kids, I know we always say among ourselves that our children are not going to take care of it, but you have to know how it is over here. They also have responsibility. So you can't hold them accountable. What we have to do, we have to take care of ourselves. We have to prepare. And that's where, all these things, Medicare, all these are facts. Social Security alone is $1,800 a month. That does not cover your family expenses. Time is greater asset. Every decade you wait cuts your retirement wealth down in half. So I'm not going to ask if anybody have any retirement plan, but I'm assuming that you have it. If you don't have it, I will advise you to think about it. So I'm going to talk about a couple of them. Or a few of the. Oh. Okay, there you go. Okay. So the compound interest. On the last, and it was talking about the earlier you start, the better. I don't know if any of you are familiar with what a compounding. I know they say, Einstein says the eighth wonder of the world. Reason is that compounding effect is your gold. If you have any strategy that compounded, please take advantage of it. If anybody sit down with you and show you a financial strategy that has a compound effect in it, please grab it, because that's your margin. Let me ask you this. If I work right now here and I ask you between $1 million, right, and between $2 doubling itself for 30 days, which one would you take? Because you know the compound effect. But 80% of them is going to go for the $1 million, right? Because, man, that's $1 million. What am I going to risk? But then when you do $2 compound effect, by the day 26, you're almost $2 million. By the day 30, you're close to 3.7 million, close to up there. Right? So that's the power of compounding. And that's where we talk different between John and Sarah here. The timing. Same amount. But Sarah started at age 25. And John started at age 45. See the compound effect, the difference? 6 times or 5 times the amount. So the compound effect and timing. That's why I'm asking, $1 million right there and then duplicate $20. So when you get the time effect added up, you go. So why I'm talking about this is how early we start our retirement planning. That's what I'm saying. For the young adults, if you don't have anything, please start something. And there are different things. I'm going to talk about those couple of options that started. If you don't have anything as an adult, please think of something, because you're really going to need it at some point in your life. Yeah, retirement planning means my children will take care of me. All right. All right. So these are the 3 simple ones or the 3 common ones. There are a few more. There's annuities and cash-based life insurance. To me, I call it the Swiss Army life, because you can use it for 10,000 things. For your mortgage, the same IDC, you can use it for your retirement, right? Infinite banking concept, the IBC, you can use it for your family, you can use it for your retirement. But these are the most common ones. Any of you, because you have a 401k, right, at your work? And I guess you all get that. Please, if you have a 401k in your place, please take advantage of it, because it's free money. That's one thing. I don't know if anybody knows the history of 401k. It's just that it's one of those where one of the senators, I know, like in the 70s, because in the past everything was retirement. It was more of retirement plan, where all the companies have to put a retirement plan, like the government does, right? The pension plan. But then realize that the companies are getting broke because they can't do it, because they have to do pension for every employee. They don't have money, so 401 became a point. That's all I can spend. I would like to have a time to talk a lot about 401k, see the pros and cons. But it's a free money from your company, so they are mandated. Some companies get away with it though, to match it. I'm sure your companies are matching it. If you're matching it, please take advantage of it. Match it as much as you can. So it's through employees. Every employer match contributions. That's what I call the free money. If you put in $100, they give you $100. If you put in 500, they put in 500. Some companies do. And then there's a limit to what you can max it out to, but please take advantage of it. I think my first 4 or 5 years in corporate, I didn't know much about it. I didn't invest in it. But afterwards I did, and I went all the way. And I can see the value right now. So do that. And you all have to know that it's what I call the pre-tax. Right? So I'm sure you know the difference between pre-tax and post-tax. Pre-tax means you don't pay the taxes, but then when you get to the distribution point, when you are a certain age, that's where retirement, Uncle Sam is going to wait for you. Uncle Sam is going to be at the corner waiting for his share. But at least it's good money. If it's properly invested, you make some capital gains. So you have to start thinking about it. So please. I mean, I don't want to spend too much hours. We can talk about it's important if you leave an organization, do you want to leave it there or it's good to move it across? There are all different strategies about that. Traditional IRA, right? That's it, individual retirement account. Traditional IRA, it's if you don't have a company that does it. Some companies don't do 401k. A lot of companies don't do it. It's a preference. Some people use that as enticing. Small businesses are hard to do, to even put the 401k in place because it's really expensive. Small companies may not want to do that. So I would say do your IRA. Open your IRA, call any of them, you put your own IRA. Or you can add IRA on top of the 401k. So it gives you a lot more options. But if you want to do IRA, I would suggest the Roth one. Roth means that it's what they call the post-tax investment. So the money is already taxed. So whatever it's in there, it's all yours. As a traditional, when you're taking the money, it's just a 401k. You got to pay the taxes. So just the kind of basic ideas to help you. But either way, you got to have something. And I think the 401k, 403b, TSP, but for the youngsters, I'm sorry, I'm pointing to you with the youngest, I would advise for you to think about. At the same time, this is where the IBC can be also another resource. So there are times I tell people, you can have the 401k, you can match it as they match, but then the extra you can put into IBC, and that can grow for you. So it's all about strategies. You have no finance, it's all about how you position yourself, any strategy. Any questions on this? And you have an IRA. Well, so that's a very good question. The idea is there's a limit to 401k, and it's based on every company, right? Some company will probably say we can max it to 4%. You can max it to whatever percentage. I would say max it to that percent because it's free money. And then if you're doing 100%, my company used to do 100%. So it all depends. You have to look the strategy. Some companies don't do 100%. They do a small percentage. And even in order for you to qualify, you have to do certain things you have to do. So 401k is based on company regulations. That's why I say it's offered through your employer. So if the condition upon which the 401k is offered to you, it's very, very appealing. I would say max it as much as you can. Because if I put in 500, they're going to put in 500. That's $1,000 for me. When you go to IRA, there's no matching. It's what you put in, is what is going to be put in the market for growth. So it all depends. But I will advise if you can have both, because when you have this, it also gives you another safe place. Because there's also a limit to how much you can put it into each and every one. I think the IRA is about $7,000 a year. So there's also a limit how you can put it in. And the same thing as 401k or 403b is limited by the company specifications. So those are some of the differences. Because you can't go past what I think is $7,000 for IRA and $23,000 for 401 or 403b. That was a good question. Any other question on the retirement? It's called a
What's
individual
IBC?
banking concept or individual bank concept, infinite banking concept. That's the personal banking.
Infinite. Oh, it's Bravo, not the
Infinite banking,
IBC.
IBC,
Bravo. Okay.
infinite banking. And I have some
Infinite
books
banking.
there that
Okay.
talks about it. Or I can share something with you. So it's an infinite banking concept or IBC. And most of the people that does it, they leverage the life insurance, either the whole life or the IUL for that because of the ability to borrow against your money. Because you can borrow against your own policy. So if I have $1 million as a approved for $1 million and I build enough cash flow in it, I can borrow against that. And sometimes you don't even have to pay for it. Right? And there's a strategy out there. There's a lot of those that you can be exposed to it. So these are mistakes immigrants we do, but I'm not going to go through all of them. Plan to work forever. Your body may not have plans. Sending too much money at home. Nothing is left for you for your own retirement. Sometimes nothing is even left for you when you go home, right? we run into all of that. Okay. Any question on retirement? Okay. I know that it's a lot of information. You guys are overloaded, right? Okay. This was just poke your mind about things, basically. That's my goal. College funding. So, the thing with college funding, it's what plan you want to put it. I know some of you, probably your kids have grown, so you probably don't even want to worry about it. But sometimes, what about friends and other children? Because we need to also educate our kids so that in case they get married and get into, so it's a cycle. Their children are going to go to college and all of that. How do they put it? So 529, Virginia 529 is one of those. Cordell, ESA, Roth IRA. You can use a Roth IRA for dual purpose. Or the life-based cash insurance, IUL, or your IBC. All those strategies can be used for college, high-yield savings account. But it all depends on your goal. One thing I want to emphasize is that your finance strategy is based on your goal. Please. Your goal, like what my sister said, her goal for credit card to do it this way. You have to have a goal. Without having a goal, you don't know what you're doing. But, and if you don't have a goal, create one. And creating a smaller, this month I want to do this. This week I want to do this, right? Set some goals. And you'll be amazed where setting those goals will change the trajectory of how your finances are. I don't say you will, changing it is going to make you a millionaire, but it's going to give you that finance freedom. Financial freedom, it's not about being rich, but not being worried about the money, but not being disturbed about you having to worry about where my money is going to come from to take care of certain things. You can make the same amount of money, and it will change your thinking. All right? So that's what I know based on it. Get full employer 401k match. This is how we talked about. Build your emergency fund. So these are some of the key points that I make it, just gives you an idea of what you can do with those strategies, and it can help you. So the link to the landing page that I created, there's a lot of this information there, because I know that after here, you can, and also some of the sheets that I gave you, the notes have a lot of information about all of these things there. All right? Teach children about money. It's important, please. I know that I met a friend one time, we're talking about, you don't know these kids. They're not going to take care of us. They're this. And I'm like, what are you giving them? What do you have for them? We tend to blame that when, no, we haven't given them anything. Teach them money. Teach them how money is. Show them how they can make money. Invest in protection of them. Put some plan together for them. There's something they call the $1 million baby strategy, right? Anybody heard about the Rockefeller plan? Rockefeller plan. We heard about the Walter Disney, things that Walter Disney and all these people do. Because they put plans in place for the kids. And then when you grow up, I guarantee you, they'll give you something. They're not going to, as bad as they are, at least they might think of you. I like them saying, thank you, Mom, for doing this for me. Thank you, Dad, for doing this. So we're going to teach our kids on this level. Give allowances, like the Brother Jackson said. Open a savings account, let them know how it goes. Teach about income budgeting and wants. It doesn't necessarily have to be something, but awareness, right? Show them all of this. And by the time that you become aware of it, it'll be beneficial to you. All right, we already take our break, so but I got one more that I want to talk about, and I think that we can. This is my favorite topic, and I like, and I want us to one time have a conversation on the generation wealth. The reason why, as immigrants, and I always like to, we don't understand what are we doing. We want assets, we want homes, we want things. Are they protected? We want businesses, are we protected? Tomorrow, if you're not here, what happened to your asset? Do you have a setup where you can go to your children? And that's not only for the immigrant. The only problem with the immigrants is because, like I said, we didn't grow up to see our parents here for them to do it. So we're oblivious to that idea. But I know Brother Jackson and my sister Denise, they were born here, they grew up there. You see what your parents went through with their assets and all the stuff. So you're aware of it sometimes, right? I'm not saying you're at least familiar with some of what your parents and your sisters and a lot of us are not aware of it. So we are exposed to something that we gotta have to start thinking about it. So if no one tells you, we lose it. So if the education doesn't exist, we lose it. I have friends. I have a friend who passed away and his wife has to move out of the house. They kicked her, and the wife at the moment is living in an apartment. Yeah, in this country. And I have another friend that passed away and strong kids. The kids were kicked out. I had to adopt one of the kids. The kids are kicked out because the parent didn't have the proper protection on their asset. So they got it kicked out. Because that's how it is. Real estate. You have an asset, a home is protected. It's one of the things that you really want to make sure that it's there. Because when you pass away, what happened to your asset? I like that. What do you mean by it depends, Mr. Jackson?
What happens to your asset? It depends. If you've written something up that connects it to someone, then that's one way. But if you didn't write something up, then it can go into probate, and it at that time is owned by the government. You have to pay taxes on it through them to get it back. So it depends how you set it up.
How many of you know what Brother Jackson just said? How many of you know that? You know about it? You know about that? Okay. And I'm sure even a lot of us are here, majority of them didn't know about this. But you're absolutely correct. You are 100% correct. The protection that you put on the asset, even though there's a little bit, what you said, there's a little bit more to it.
Of course.
But what you said is...
We're listening.
But what you said is the right thing. Because you have to understand, your mortgage, your child is not on your mortgage. So if anything happens to you, your child cannot go up there and say, hey, this is my mom's house, give it to me. Hell no. I don't know you. If your wife or your loved ones are not, so you got to put something in place. If anything happens to you, they can be protected. Like Dr. Jackson, there have to be a document that will protect you from that. A lot of us immigrants are not aware of it. And therefore, we lose a lot of that. I mean, I'm telling you, the man's house was almost $200,000 value in the asset. Gone. Government took it. Because there was nothing. The person is dead. What are you going to ask him? There was no document that says if anything happens to me, then even get caught up in probate. That was the right word. And even on the probate side, it went on and on. And was like, all right, we got to give it up because it's nothing. And a lot of us are not aware of it. We don't have the protection. But you don't know what's going to happen. Are we waiting till that happens to us before we're going to? No, it'll be too late. All right. So the asset, same thing with life insurance. Are your beneficiaries properly structured in your life insurance? Because if you don't have that, no one can go up and get it. Same with retirement accounts. All these accounts have the option to put, if you know you can put beneficiaries on your bank account. But the smartest thing the banks do, they're not going to tell you until you ask. How many times you're going to ask, am I right? They're not going to tell you that you can put your children or different beneficiaries on your bank account unless you ask. You go to open it, there's no section. Go open the account. These days you open online. Put your name in there and they take your money. Because they make money. I have a friend of mine who passed a few years ago. We didn't even know what happened to his money. No one could go. I'm sure I remember he had almost about $10,000, $15,000 in his account. Gone. No beneficiaries, no records. A lot of things that we do. And I'm become Pastor John. I don't know if you guys do that. How many of you, because most people sit husband and wife, no one knows each other's what's going on. Right? We don't share that information. And then something happens to you, boom. Now we go to the bank say, who are you? I'm a Mrs. This. Well, we don't know you. Now you're going to go to the court. The court might eventually give you something. Not free. And even that, they're not going to give you all. So that's where the trust, the wills and the trust is important. I'm not going to spend hours to talk about it. If you give me, I can go in the details on that, because that's the areas that I love, and I'll spend some time next time to talk to you guys all about that. So this is the life insurance that we're talking about. The term life, the whole life, and then an NLIUMC. Please, if you don't have any of these, find a way to get it. If you don't have it that you can qualify for, leverage your children. Please. Because you may not qualify for it based on your medical and your age and all of that, but please leverage your children. You can use your leverage, and then you can become the ownership, especially on the IUL side. It's a permanent lifetime. And you can, in that case, one of the things that I told a friend and help a friend do was, he had a vision of raising some money to do something. We get life insurance. In 2 years, he got the money, right, to do what he has to do, but then it's a gift to the child. Pay it out. Child has almost about $800,000 coming to the child by the time he's 45 years old. I'm done. I got my money out. It's all strategic. These things are always about your goals, what you want to do, and then focus on it, and then itemize. All right, so these are the three types of the life insurance. If you can, at least get a term. Term is the easiest one. It's the cheaper one. There's not a lot of benefit. You don't grow no cash, but at least the beneficiaries are going to make the money, and you pay very cheap. And I would say if growing term is a term, 30 years is the max they can give you. But these ones are permanent. These ones are 10, 20, or 30-year terms. Okay. Go ahead.
The term life, after certain years, they give you up to certain years. So after that year, all the money that
Yeah, it depends. They have some that become automatically renewable. Some of them depends on. So if you have to sit down with someone for a term life, please let them ask them the type of term life they're putting into it. Some of them it automatically converts. Even some of them in like 2, 3 years or 10 years of it. If you qualify for 30 years, 10 years, you can convert it into a permanent. So different programs have different conditions. If you want to get it where it's like a 30 years, because you have to know that your rate at the beginning is definitely going to be cheaper compared to the rate at the year 30. But you can also use a strategy, because it's interesting. I suggested this to a friend of mine. So he bought a home. The guy is 33 years old. And I asked him, what have you used to protect your home? And he basically says, nothing. And I said, if I can tell you that we can put $1 million to protect your home, what would you think? Paying just $120. So I'm curious. All right. So we put a plan together. 30-year term loan, paying $120. So if anything happens to him, the house is taken care of. So basically, insurance is you buying an amount of money for a peace of mind. If you think about it that way, you're buying $1 million, paying $120 for a peace of mind. Not to worry about if anything happens to you. Not to burden your family or yourself. And even now, a lot of the term, depends on the company, they have what they call the living benefit. If you get diagnosed with some disease like cancer, I've seen people get almost up to $500,000 out of $1 million plan. Yes. You can term life with a living benefit. That means if anything happens to you, and they have different categories. You get hurt, even the company, National Life, I love them. If you get injured in an accident and you have a term life, they look at it, do some calculations, give you a whole lot of money, $300,000-$400,000 for you whilst you recover. So there are programs out there that a lot of people take advantage. But I said it's all about being knowledgeable about them. Okay. So I think we're coming to close of it, which is the family communication. This will be my last topic, and stewardship. I think it's really important. But all the stuff that we talk about, and there's quite a lot of information, but all the stuff that we talk about, how do we get to use this? We've got to start using it. Now, there's a lot of things. So how do we do this? We do money meetings. I don't know if you haven't been doing this and you have a family, just do it. You set up a regular time. You review the budget together. You talk about goals. I like the goals because without the goals, it's like you just doing anything. And it doesn't have to be big goals. Please, it could be weekly goals. This month, I'm going to make sure that I got this. I recently on my business, I said, hey, by June, I want to be able to do this. And I put a plan together. And even anybody here who's really into AI, that could be another topic that I can teach you. I built my own financial dashboard. If anybody interested, I can show you how to do it. Build my own financial dashboard. Putting all into it, running my business, setting up some automations, and he's doing it. Oh, yeah. I'll be another topic that we can teach the next time. Really on AI financial management, AI for all the stuff. And then, set up my goals, analyze it, told me if you do this, this is going to happen. And I do what I call the AI agent. You wake me up in the morning and say, how you doing, Patrick? And I'm like, come on. 8 o'clock in the morning, I got my reminder. And give me an idea of how I'm going to move on. But this is it. We have to start doing that. Go to children. Things you can discuss. Do you and your sport talk? Question. Do you and your sport partner talk openly about money? How many of us do that? Do your children know financial goals? Because the kids of today, if you let them understand the value of money, I guarantee you they can really become conscious of it. I'm telling you, let them know. Show them all. Look at things that they like. So sometimes you say, oh, the kid likes video games. My kid likes this. I can sit down with you on the video game and do a financial analysis with that and realize, uncle, I didn't know that. I have that with them all the time. So, I didn't know that. Right? All right. How financial habits are you modeling for your kids right now? I had a friend of mine, and the question was that, what 2 ways? A lot of them was like cutting down expenses, right? The two, cut down expenses, don't cut down expenses. Cut down expenses, don't cut down expenses. But you have to know, cut down expenses with what you're coming up, what you have right now, so income coming in. It's a good plan. I'm always on the other side. You know what? I'm not going to cut down my expense, but I'm going to find a way to increase my income. You see that? Don't cut down this, because if you focus on cutting down expenses to put on the tunnel, it doesn't drive you to increase your income process. But if you're honest, I'm not going to really think about worry about. I'm rather going to think about how do I fit the habit? How do I put myself into the position whereby that's where you see me opening several business. I got business here, I got business there. Cumulatively, they all give me what I want. Think about it strategically, because you always want to be conscious about those ideas. And it can be one little thing. It can be one little change in one thing you do, and you'll be amazed what will happen. All right. Okay. I know this, I'm not going to dig too much into it. It's like, while I'm getting to the family, cost of divorce and couples fight and, 62% high purchase it from your partners. And every time I look at it, I told my wife one time when her and I, started early. Then we got to a point where I think that we had a difference in terms of where the money was. So I realized that she was hiding it from me. At first, I got upset, but I'm glad she did that. You know why? Because she did that, we're able to open a business. Because her goal was, I'm going to do a business with whether you go, and I'm this corporate tunnel guy. All I care about is I'm going. And she's like, honey, we're going to do this. And I said, no, it's okay. Then she's going to take it. And thank God, we get almost 4 or 5 businesses part of that idea. So it always about what the goals. When I found out, it's like, do it. And I support her. And thank God we're able to get there. So even though some of these things are a bit concerning, as a team, please, if you're a man and you're taking it from your wife, be conscious. If you're a woman, you're taking it from your husband, also be conscious. Don't go take it and go buy a yuntuma or something like that to go for a year, and it's like, you got to be conscious. A yuntuma is a funeral cloth and all of that, because we are quick on doing that. And some of them have secret financial account. That's more preference. So how to reduce financial stress as a couple. I mean, that's also important for us to be conscious. I like this. How many people have ever gone to Walmart for just one thing and left emotionally and financially damaged? you ever go to, sometimes I look at people and I'm like, so you left home to come to Walmart with a list to buy all of that? No. But they have what they call the Walmart macro strategy. It's the thing that people learn. Big businesses learn the Walmart strategy. Michael Wharton and those people, no. Because they realize that the human brain, they are attracted to, you don't need, that's what is open with Amazon. Same strategy. Walmart did it with the present, Amazon did it online. Same idea. You go in there, you can see them, now they're even selling food on Amazon. Right. So you're going to buy milk. Guess what? I asked the guy, I said, do you need all the 4 cartons of milk? It's like, you don't know my children. I'm like, man, I think you're spoiling them. If they go in, there's only 1 gallon of milk, you think they're going to drink it all? They know that it's not. But if you put 4 gallons of milk, guess what they're going to do? They're going to drink it. So it's all about parameters and boundaries and how you teach them how to do it. All right. So these are, I'll put some quotations. Thanks to AI helped me with this. I'm not going to lie. I got some, but he also helped me get some quotations here. So, but I can have these slides around. Anybody needs some information off of it, so don't worry about taking pictures. Or take pictures the best way, but if you need some more information of it, I'll be happy to share with you. Come in here, right? I'm in the way. I'm trying to go here, but then feels like I'm...
Go further.
Go over here? Okay. Yeah, I was hoping I could get something that would show just the top, but unfortunately, the way it's designed. So it will be given to you, right? So I had the topics, and then I let they look for the proper quotations for me. So I get some good ideas. Any questions? We are coming to the end of it. I got some plans. I'll put some plans together. We can look at it, and I'll let you all see what. Okay. So, all right. So that's what I call the action plan. I know that it's almost 2:00. So we're going to wrap it up. All right. So this is an action plan, financial reset. It's a lot of them are on the sheet, and a lot of them are on the. If you go to the link, I have a lot of them there, which basically a 30-day plan. If you want to follow it, it says week 1, look at your stuff. Week 2, this. So it gives you an idea. Even though you may have your own system. So this is not a system I'm saying you have to religiously follow. But if you don't have a system, or it will help you with what you plan to do, I think it'd be good to do. Not all of it, but at least there should be some pointers there. But I have it in details here, what breaks it down. And also, 5 steps that you can take starting this week. Know your numbers. Automate 1 savings. We already talked about. Some of these things we already talked about. Get your credit report. When was the last time you got a credit report to see what's on there? Request it. You're entitled to 1 credit report from the EET, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Get that. Put in 1 financial goal. 1 financial goal. What habit would I stop? What habit am I going to start? Give my financial goal for the next 90 days. Get these ideas in your mind. It sets you up, and I'm serious. I guarantee you'll be surprised. I'm telling you. You'll be surprised. Don't ask more money. Just that money that you're making. Sit down and put a plan together. Have you ever sat down and realized that at the end of the year, you make probably $100,000, but you don't even have $5,000 left? It's because of the plan. It's the plan. If you have a plan, and if you like, you and I can sit down and show you some of these things. I know you want us to. You and I will build a plan. I'll do more like a template. I actually created one for the church last week, so we're going to use that for finance to use for our finance management. So I created a template, a budget strategy plan, and I have ability. Anybody who's interested, let me know. We'll sit down and based on your needs, we can put an automated budget plan together for you, and we can do it. So this is some stuff that we talked about. What are some of the things that we discussed today? It gives you an idea. All right, so work hard does not always create money. Every family needs a written budget. Starting retirement savings that is the single most. So it gives you an idea on how you can move on. Okay? So I think that's it. And then it's just like if you want to commit to some of these things, and it's only those that applies to you. Start a written budget this week if it's just a notebook. And these days, enroll or increase your 401k contributions this month. If you have an option to increase it, please. If it doesn't have it, then that's it. But max it out if your company offers it. Right. All right. So, this is the question. I mean, anybody has any questions? But I think it's quite a lot of information. I'm sorry. I loaded a lot. But I wanted to do this because I think that it's more of our awareness. And please, this is just the beginning. It's just the start of these conversations. I'm available to talk, have these conversations. Sometimes my time will get a little tied up, but please bear with me if I'm not getting back to you in time. I know if you have an experience with me on that, she knows that I'm always tied up. But I think the key is the awareness. And we have to do it on the church. At some point, we need to bring this awareness. Because the thing is that what we sometimes don't understand is that if you are not financially sustainable, you're not going to have enough to give to the church. Unfortunately, because no matter how much you love the church, no matter how much you love God, but the way to save money, it's not about working hard. It's about putting a strategy in place. I bet you're making enough money to be able to do a lot of things. But because you don't have a structure around it, the money comes and goes, you're not watching it. It's stressful. I'm not saying it's easy. It's very, very stressful. But it takes it one day at a time. One day at a time. All right? So thank you all. Any questions? See, that's what I'm saying. These are some of the things that I use to create. So any questions?
No. Any questions?
Any questions, guys?
No.
All right, I know I had the post said it. I'm hoping people listen to it, but I'll be happy to do more of this. Maybe zone it into specific areas, and then we can dig more into, even if it's online. Maybe we can add it into our routine online schedules, and hopefully this time we'll make sure it's properly protected. And then, oh yeah. And I actually have a couple books that some of my friends and I wrote. If anybody want anything from the slides, I'll be happy to share with you. And even this book, The Millionaire, and also please read some books. I like reading books. I have a lot of in my library on Audible. There's like thousands and thousands of them in there. So I read a lot of them just to give me knowledge about what's going on out there, because it helps you to understand and also helps you to be able to tell others about how to do it. There's so much that we all need to learn. There's so much we all need to grasp. But that's it. All right. So I want to say thank you all for your time, for you guys coming, and I hope that we can get more of those. Pastor John is around?
Yeah, Pastor wants to say. Okay.
Pastor John, tell him that we miss him.
Yes. Oh, hello, Brother Patrick and the team. My apologies that I couldn't. I was locked up in traffic. I had to go to a do a program at our licensing school. So I was coming over trying to make it, unfortunately. But I've been following. This is a very powerful presentation. I'm still online with some of our friends. It's a very powerful presentation. And we want to say thank you to Brother Patrick. And we will find ways to send the link to our people, encourage our people to watch, because this, you cannot easily find such very powerful information and very powerful presentation like this. So we want to say thank you to you, and thank you to all of you who are present in person. We pray that the good Lord will help us so that we will make some time to go deeper to specific areas, and also to find a way to participate in the programs that our brother is sharing with us. So on your behalf, I want to say thank you to you, Brother Patrick, and the rest of you who are there. We're looking forward to seeing you all on Sunday. Once again, my apologies because I'm just traffic and things I couldn't. And so thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you. I don't know if you had a chance. Did he get a chance to watch? So he was watching it? Yeah, okay. I know he was driving all the way up here. Yeah. All right. So, I mean, like I said, any of this information, Steve, right? I mean, we can connect later if you like. I mean, I have, are you coming to visit us at the church at some point? Oh, you live, say Woodbridge? Because I live in Woodbridge too. We all live, most of us live there. Yeah, come and visit us sometime. Come and visit us sometime. All right. Okay. Yeah, we need to bring the awareness.
You are not doing it. That's the women.
And well, and then the other thing is that, I mean, we can always organize a men's or the women's, and then we can have these conversations, even if on Zoom. I'll be happy to talk more about some of these things. And like I said, it's not really, we can focus in areas. I can send questions to give me ideas and I prepare around it. Right. Then I can create a budget. Absolutely. Yeah. Then I can even write on there, show you what your budgets are, and then we can give you the idea, because I can really create, probably show you what budget I'm using, to show you what ideas or things to consider, how much money. We can take a hypothetical scenario. Okay, someone's making $3,000 and have these expenses. What is the best way to manage that? Right? So we can do 532 plan. We can put a plan together, 50-30-20, and realize that out of the $3,000 a month, if my mortgage is $2,000 or my rent is $2,000, how do I multiply that? How do I check in all of that? When you become conscious of that amount or the numbers, then guess what you do? You discipline and you work towards it. You can be a point off, up, or you can be a point down as you go along. Then the next time, how do I correct the point that I was off? Right. So you become conscious of that. It's like any habit. As soon as you do that, it becomes part of you. And these days, you can set it up where every morning or twice a day, you get a notification say, check it out. Go check your account. You can set up on your phone and say, hey, remind you to go check your plan. So many ways out there. Some of them, you can even do a free app in the AI that will set your schedule, and every morning it will tell you, hey, have you checked your account? Your account is doing like this. And you can do the same thing with your banks now. Some banks, you can, for the app, you can set it to do certain financial, like I know, I say with Navy Federal, I saw them, they have the debt to income ratio calculator. So you do that all the time. This amount of money that comes in, they even have the ability to review and see where your subscriptions are, where it's going, where every month. They have the app. That will tell you. So subconscious. But then the idea too is it's all about you. I mean, someone would say, I subscribe to YouTube TV. Why did I do that? Because I cancel my home cable. Home cable is $200. YouTube TV is $80. I don't have to have the cable box sitting in my house. They're charging me $200 a month. Now it's on my phone. No one charging my phone. On my phone, I need it anywhere. So I can watch it there. I can watch it anywhere. So there are all these things that we have to be conscious about. That alone saves me $120 a month. That's it, right? So be conscious of that. If you buy something that you feel like it's not, do we need it? Or it's just, and what is it going to fill? Is it filling the void? Is it just added to it? You become conscious of that. Oh, this month, I don't have enough. If you have all these calculators, probably going to say you're hitting your target or your wants. You only have $30 left. Would you buy a $50 thing? Now it controls you. So immediately say, okay, I'm not. I'm going to wait till next month, right? So that idea helps you to be very conscious about what are you doing. And in the same, people have business. I have folks who own business. I'll tell you. Your payroll. I have payroll that sometimes it hits me. I wake up, my head hurts. How am I going to do payroll? But then I put a system together. Whew. I was like, whoa, I didn't know that. God damn, now I'm like, from payroll there, I'm ready. And all I did is change the strategy. Change the way I was doing it. Didn't change the income coming in. It changed the strategy. So now I know this one is coming in, I'm lock it in. This one come here, I lock it in, I lock my taxes in here. Separate different account. Another thing too is leveraging different accounts. You hear me talking about how you have your savings and your, if you separate the account, that's the most important thing too. As part of your strategy, my checking account is going to handle this, my saving account is going to handle this, right? So consciously you know that your savings account is going to have all the miscellaneous. When it's going down, it wakes you up, right? My checking account is going to handle this. If you're going down, become conscious, right? So when it's the effort. It all takes one thing at a time. If you hear me talk, just what am I going to do better? And what am I going to stop doing? And you can get it. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
It's been wonderful.
Brother Budget.